Serious, girl gamers, what are your best and worst experiences of gaming online? Best, like everyone else is saying, free loot, especially in MMOs. Worst, I got invited into a guild one time. They told me to join their TeamSpeak and most of them were pretty chill. This one guy though was obsessed with me. He somehow found out where I lived and threatened to come to my house and take me away. Never happened, but it was scary as heck, and thankfully the guild leader kicked him out. He found my personal Facebook a few weeks later, and every time I blocked him, he would make a new account to try add me, message me. I ended up deactivating my Facebook and made one under my nickname and a fake last name. Wow, that's freaking creepy. Haven't really had a worst experience yet. So far have run into decent kids and adults. Basically my experience as a female gamer, I'm constantly playing a secondary game where I wait for other players to figure it out. Most recently I was playing with two guys around 16-17 that freaked out when I told them I was out of college because they thought I sounded like a 12-year-old. Never figured it out but were good partners otherwise. Best is when I ran with a guy who studied as a voice actor, knew immediately I was female and didn't care, but took great pleasure in fricking with other guys on our team by changing up his tone accent every so often. Spoke as deep-voiced Russian for 10-15 minutes, then switched to Leprechaun. Best, bonding with other women through gaming. Worst, I was cyber-stalked to the point of involving the police. Never again. I don't do voice chat anymore outside of personal friends. This is my answer for best. When I find another female player, there's so much relief, and we can just play like normal and just have pure fun without all that worrying. Also, married couples or gay men are amazing to game with too. Just pure fun, no weird stuff. Best was on WoW. I got a bunch of free crap just for talking to people. Worst was when a dude tracked me down on Facebook and kept trying to say I was his girlfriend, even though we lived in different countries. When you beat them and they think some guy had the controller and you are the one talking. What's the point of that? Just don't be a sore loser just because you got beat by a girl. Seriously though, as a guy, I don't get what the big deal is about getting beat by a girl. Worst, dealing with buttholes who don't take you seriously, but take the 12-year-old squeaker seriously. Also the 12-year-old squeaker thinking it's perfectly okay to demand a 26-year-old woman suck his dong while grown but adults laugh. Best, hearing the screams when you start to win. I've never had a bad experience myself, but I've been mistaken for a 12-year-old boy more often than not. I played with a couple of guys for months, and when we finally exchanged names, they wouldn't believe I was a girl at first. Apparently it's just something in my voice. It may be something about the quality of the mic you are using. Post-pubescent women and men have richer vocal tone qualities than prepubescent boys and girls. If your mic is flattening your vocal timbre, you will sound more like a boy. Best, going like 30/5 in hardcore TDM or wrecking it in hardcore S&D, and when PPL give you crap, turning on the mic to declare victory, get the stunned silence that OMG it's a girl, then making friends with the other top players so we can ruin everyone else. 98% of my friends list on Xbox was made that way. Worst, after dating a guildmate in WoW, I was laughing at a joke over vent, at which point my guild leader told me don't turn into the guild as I had never asked for any special treatment, gifts or help with quests, and my relationship was private with that guy, but of course the whole guild found out, and when it was over PPL took because screwing all the males in my guild was top of my priority list in World of Warcraft. Someone was jealous. Best, like others have said, free loot. People always want to add me as a friend and party up. Worst, relentless sexual harassments, proposals, serenades, in-game stalking. Creepiest, based on my usernames in a game I no longer play. One of them found my information and tried to add me on Facebook. Offered to buy me anything I wanted off Amazon if I posed nude in a pic for him. Proceeded to beg me to add him back on Facebook and called me names when I refused to. Threatened to kill himself because I was being a bee about it. I wasn't. Former WoW raid leader here. Best, men actively want to hang out with me so I never wait long for groups. Also free crap, but I usually mail it back because I don't want people to use it to bribe me. But I did for you. Why won't you hang out with me? Why won't you whisper me back when I message you? Constantly happens pretty often. Worst, constantly comparing me to other women in a way that puts other women down to flatter me. I find it disrespectful. Also being told I am being emotional when I am reprimanding people for poor performance or inappropriate behavior. I can't believe I had to give my guild a don't drop the N-bomb in my raiding channel talk. They were doing it in a way that was very clearly intended to be derogatory, but apparently expecting people to behave in socially acceptable ways makes me a fun killer. Worst, having everyone immediately think that I am incompetent because I have lady parts or that I am trying to use my gender to get free crap. Best, I was a raid leader in WoW during Wrath. Our guild group frequently had to pug in people for raid night because we were a small, mostly social guild. One night, these pugger shats wouldn't shut up and let me talk and thus, do my job. So I demanded only the person with the biggest penis may continue speaking. And as I was saying, this caused many butt-fat comments from the pugs till my guildies backed me up with lots of no guys. She really does have the biggest penis. It is her right to talk and your right to shut up. We use that rule frequently on raid nights after that. Best, getting compliments on my voice. When I was younger and played on console, I would often get confused as a mixture of a squeaker and a female addict on helium. As I got older, it gets either nicer or creepier. I joined a community as staff on a server and was the only girl. There was this one dude who will still to this day doubt I am a girl. Worst, getting stalked by some guy in Brazil. Best, I can't think of a single positive experience that has happened because of the fact that I'm a female. I think of special treatment and that kind of BS as a bad thing. I really don't want it. Worst, I haven't used voice chat for over 2 years now because of the fact that if I open my mouth if I play with people I stand out. My voice stands out and it drags attention that I don't want. Whether it's positive attention or negative doesn't matter, I just want to blend in. As a result, this also makes me enjoy games less than I would do if I could communicate properly without anxiety. I'm always the one person in the group not talking and it freaking sucks, which in turn makes me stand out in yet another way. Even in my own dang guild I still haven't spoken up once and I've been there for half a year. Best, just relaxing and listening to music while playing. Worst, messages. First, they are usually something like hey, but when I ignore them long enough, sometimes they become sexist and antagonistic. Best, when you get recognized for being an awesome tank. People commend you as a guy, but when they find out you're a girl you get extra props. Worst, when creepy guys stalk you in game and GMs don't do anything about it. Heads up, I find FXIV to be the best mix of girls and guys. Seconding that FF bit, half the people we met in that game were girls, and nobody cared. Everyone is already playing cat girls anyhow so you can't tell most of the time. The advantage of me being French Canadian is that nobody cares if I am female. They just want to hear about that omelette or fromage. Yeah, there was a girl in my linkshell that was French Canadian and I just wanted to hear her speak. Another girl was Dutch and if they could just have a conversation about whatever I'd enjoy my night. Best, I became friend with a guy through a mutual online game. After years of friendship, he and I started dating and ended up with us getting married. We have a 2-year-old son and we are very happy. Worst, I had male friends that I thought were friends but they quickly disappeared after I started dating someone other than themselves. I thought we had a good friendship only to realize they were only faking it to get into a romantic relationship with me. This is 10 years now and when I think back on those people I feel sad and angry. Here was someone I thought was my friend. We talked and texted all the time, only to find out they were faking in the hopes I would catch feelings for them. That's a really crappy thing to do to someone. I understand the worst side of this completely. Seems like this is a common occurrence unfortunately. Worst, other players, usually men, when finding out I'm black. Nigga nappy headed hoe, an actual quote. Best, having the best score in a matchmaking game. And also I like when my team of strangers works well together. Sometimes we end up making a party, then becoming friends. Worst, other players, usually men, when finding out I'm black. Nigga nappy headed hoe, an actual quote. Jesus Christ, what a world we live in. Glad it hasn't put you off. Worst is the whole "T or get the F out" reaction from male players. Why should I have to prove that I have a vagina in order to play Diablo? Honestly, if anyone in an online game ever asks if I'm really a girl, I generally just say number. I can't think of any reason for them to ask that isn't going to turn out badly for me. My wife literally uninstalled LOL after being told to by a flaming teammate. It has been over 4 years and she won't touch any PvP games because of that experience. Worst most awkward. Was playing Overwatch and this squeaker came online. Said squeaker started talking some real crap about everyone. Completely sucked and got pissy about us sucking. Because the player was playing as a healer and not healing anyone. So of course I tell them to shut up and that they sound like a little girl. Turned out to be a 20-some-year Asian woman. Also, it is noted that when you're known to be a girl you get teabagged a bunch more by the players than before they found out. This is finally my chance for my testicles to know the touch of a woman. It's super sad hearing how a lot of players' best moments are when they talk and their gender isn't mentioned. That shouldn't be a best moment. That should be normal. I always found it weird when playing Overwatch or CSGO and meeting female gamers that simply didn't make calls because they didn't want to speak. Imagine going through life as one of those poorly written characters in some tired script whose only real defining characteristic is his girl. Being treated like anything other than an actual person is just so insane, and it happens all the time to all kinds of people. Best, an ex-boyfriend bought me Civ when I was broke so we could play together. Worst, same ex-boyfriend yelled at me and then rage quit every time we played. Because my turns took too long. I collected data. On average, his turns took longer than mine. I collected data. You've no idea how happy this makes me. Best, all the wonderful and fun experiences I've had playing FF14. Worst, a couple of stories come to mind. These are more awkward than bad, but I used to play in a small guild and for a woman I have a particularly deep voice and so a lot of people mistake me for a guy. I also tend not to correct people cause I don't care all that much. For a while, there was a guy in TeamSpeak who was like the stereotypical neckbutt, and he assumed I was a dude with a high-pitched voice. When my brother came into TS and referred to me as his sister, it was like you could hear the rusted gears in his head start to turn and he just logged off of TS. He didn't speak to me again for a week. Another was a guy whose goal in Final Fantasy was to find a girlfriend. So anytime he saw a female character he would hit on them relentlessly. And so he was in my guild and did that to me and I told him to frick off. Eventually the guild leader kicked him out. Good riddance. And then there was the time a woman thought I had the hottest voice and I had to tell her I was a woman too and she was very disappointed. Worst, I get called names and have to hear lots of really gross comments that make me lose hope for humanity. Also, the creepy messages I get sent. Best, when people don't care that I'm female and don't comment it on it. I think it's telling that most of the best stories women here have is when people treat them normally, like they would any other stranger they shared a hobby with, respectfully. These best experiences are when they get friends playing games, something that should happen to everyone all the time participating in a hobby that they love. Why do so many people insist so voraciously that sexism doesn't exist when it's such a common theme for women in gaming to think that the normal experience of gaming, enjoying yourself and making friends, is somehow extraordinarily good? I've been called C, B, S, etc. I was told that my son, who was an infant at the time, should commit suicide so he would be spared growing up with me as a mother. I was told I should go kill myself in a ditch. I've had people patronize me and disrespect me, but those incidents are few and far between. I don't play many games with voice chat. I play WoW and I'm pretty particular about the guilds I join. I've also become quite a liberal user of the ignore function, particularly in League of Legends. Most of my experiences have been positive. I met my husband on an online game 12 years ago. We celebrated 10 years of marriage this past October. I've made more than a few friendships that ended up transcending the games we met on. So I think I've been pretty lucky. Worst, when I first started playing WoW, I rolled a feral druid, default UI, button clicking, no meters, etc. But it was fun. Queued up for a heroic and ended up with a group of 3 guildies. They crap talked me the whole time, with the tank being the worst. It kept escalating with misogynist comments and slurs because my DPS was bad. Normally I shake off rude comments and people being buttholes, but this experience really impacted me. I stopped playing that character and rolled a paladin tank. I got better and eventually learned how to use macros and not button click. Got add-ons and different things. Eventually ended up becoming a career healer and quite good at it too. Best, getting a 34/1 KDA in Dota 2. With a rampager sniper. I'm always a support. Had to play hard carry because somehow everyone else wanted to support that game. When my team congratulated me over voice, I replied thanks and they blew up the comms. I usually keep my gender ambiguous until I get to know people and voice chat with them. But most people I meet are just regular people and not buttholes or nutty. I'm having 6.83 flashbacks. Best, getting some really good friends. I usually play support roles since I really enjoy playing it, so I usually get a lot of friend requests, League of Legends, and positive feedback regardless whether they are aware of my gender. Worst, I agreed to meet up with this guy that I've been playing with for 6 months. He seemed to be a normally functioning person whenever we spoke on Discord and Skype. After we met he kept on manipulating, grooming me into his girlfriend knowing well that I had a boyfriend. Kept on buying me stuff online, including tickets to London, and kept on telling me to call him daddy or he would make my life a living heck. 0/10 would meet up with anyone I've met online ever again. So, was playing on Xbox Live on Red Dead Redemption and got sexually harassed and asked if my pee was tight and all kinds of crap because I kicked this dude's butt. Started getting more sexually violent and threatening to rape me IRL despite me and 3 other people telling him to stop. So I quit that. Then was playing Colonial Marines and started chatting with this dude and he seemed cool. Then we started playing Colonial Marines together for maybe 4 hours a week together. It was great. Until he started telling me how sexy my voice was, how I must give great head, how he wishes he was here. He started trying to add me to parties constantly, and when I'd turn him down he'd message me over and over and over again if I would agree. It was the same crap until I came on the last time and could tell he was masturbating while he was talking dirty to me. I felt so unclean. I literally quit Xbox Live and have not gone back since. I usually don't let people know I'm a woman because I know the sexual comments will come and the bulls women don't game blah blah, even though I've been gaming for almost 22 years. Not all guys are pigs or act like that, but in my personal experience, most of them, at least on Xbox and WoW, are gross. I've stopped gaming online for reasons that may become clear. But I used to play MMOs and WoW since vanilla. Best, drunk runs through 10-20 mans late at night. A million hilarious moments on TeamSpeak vent. Worst, the moment they found out I was a woman. I'd had a little experience as a woman in WoW, so when I joined my Endgame guild I just didn't correct them when they constantly called me by male pronouns. It helped that I played a male Tauren and for some reason no one suspects women will roll male tunes weird. At first I honestly didn't have a mic, so it was easy to just listen on TeamSpeak and type replies. But time ticked by. I had been raiding with the guild for a year, and I got promoted to officer, so silly me. I got on TeamSpeak and spoke for the first time and let all the officers know. The immediate change in how I was treated. Sexual PMs, online stalking into my dating history which escalated constant harassment and jealousy over my sexual history. Difference in willingness to listen to raid calls. Difference in how my level of skill was perceived. Difference in party chat which needless to say the game wasn't fun anymore, and I was crushed by having such clear illustration of the disparity between the guy experience online and the girl experience. And the realization that no matter what I did or how hard I tried I could never be respected as much as I had been when they thought I had a dong. I quit MMOs for now. Maybe I'll go back when I'm out of interest range for the high school college age demographic. Best, Fable 3. A guy came in and decided to give me all of the money forever. He did this so I could get a positive outcome for my game. We had never spoke before, and I never asked for the money. I just randomly started getting gifts of ridiculous amounts of money. Worst, Fable 3. The guy expected a lot from his gifts. The first words he ever spoke to me was him calling me his queen. I sent the money back, but he was already in my game and killed everyone out of anger of the rejection. Fun times. Whoa, that's creepy. I never touched the online play on Fable 3. I remember pre-ordering the game and I would use the cheat method to get a lot of money in the casino style games before the game came out. Then when the game came out, it wasn't as fun because I was too rich and could buy anything easily. Or maybe it wasn't as fun because it didn't live up to our expectations. The game I play most is Dota 2. And when people find out I'm a girl for whatever reason, their response is usually the typical dumb crap like girls don't play games or you probably have a dong, but sometimes you get people who decide that I don't deserve to win and just start running down mid and feeding. The best experience I had was finding a WoW guild of entirely LGBTQ and women and having a really nice atmosphere to play the game within. I made a rather obvious troll account once. Easy gamer girl. Played Call of Duty MW2 just to see. My god, the amount of friends requests and unsolicited pictures sent, no dong pics thankfully, was hilarious. So many people asked what bra size I was and are you really a girl? The weirdest thing, they refused to believe me when I told them I wasn't a girl. They thought I was just saying that to get out of talking to them. I'm so sorry to all the actual girl gamers. That's when you send them a dong pic. Just had to say I played Smite last night. 3 out of 5 players were girls on my team and in curse. So proud the other guy went the 40-minute without saying anything about it. My favorite is always when guys open with this classic, so you're a girl. Freaking nailing it. I mostly play modded Minecraft. Best, basically, nothing good comes out of it. Worst, people tend to freak out and yell grill and stuff every time the subject comes up. And it comes up a lot. For no reason, and the misogyny starts leaking out, like when they say they're surprised to find out I'm a girl because I'm actually competent, and then the owner of the server keeps asking me for pics, or tells everyone that I sent him inappropriate photos, which of course I didn't. Makes me want to just tell everyone I'm a dude. Worst is when my brother pimped me out on RuneScape when I was about 9 or so. I had about a dozen boyfriends who my brother, subtly forced to give me gifts and then I had to funnel it all to his account. I had to RP sex and stuff as well. I mean, I've had harassment and all, but that's all old news and it doesn't really bother me personally cause they don't know where I live or anything. But my brother is a psycho and it was really uncomfortable for me. He's about 3 years older. The best is when mods or admins or whatever would purposely protect any female players from getting harassed, or just made an extra point of block so and so, don't accept any trades. He hasn't really done anything to get himself banned so we can't do anything, but he's kinda creepy to any ladies. It was always a good feeling when they, male and female, realized yeah, this happens. No, you guys aren't exaggerating. This mostly happened on the Minecraft servers I played on, surprisingly enough. I don't know if I just got really lucky and found cool servers or if they were older players, not 13-year-olds, or what. Another noteworthy event. I used to play TF2 pretty frequently and communication is very important in that when you're playing medic, which is what I mained. Suru many people being okay with me doing whatever with voice chat off, but as soon as I was a girl, oh you have to follow me my doctor. The RuneScape part. What the actual frick? I'm relatively new to gaming, and my experience so far has been pretty positive. The one experience that made me laugh was when I first started playing H1Z1, which was one of the first games I played, so I was really bad. I somehow managed to make it to the final 2 with only a handgun. The guy who won, when he found out I was female, was shocked and super supportive. We had a good chat for 5 minutes. Being a girl shouldn't matter, but I think we're generally outnumbered. Most of my gaming friends are guys and they are all great about helping me out and helping me improve. But I think we're generally outnumbered. I read somewhere they reckon it is somewhere close to a 50-something to 40-something split in favor of men. But this must be including mobile phones, because online seems totally dominated by us. Best was when I was 16 playing with my 3-year-old brother in 2004, and we were wrecking people on Halo 2, and none of the guys believed that they got owned by a baby and a girl. Worst, no one believing I was a girl, which was probably good since I was so young and naive. I normally don't like to use the chat feature because people assume I'm a fat ugly girl that has no life because pretty girls don't play video games. But one of the funniest conversations I had was when a kid kept saying this loser must love dong. I ignored him for a while, but then I finally said yes I do. What's your point? And then he goes off on how gay I am, and then I respond with I'm actually straight. Then he was confused, you can't be straight and love dong, idiot, to which I responded you can if you're a girl, and then he sent me a friend request, which I declined. LOL. I'm not into the free loot for being a girl thing. I had a female character but so do half of the guys, and so strangers always assumed I was a dude, which was fine by me. Best, I finally joined a group of awesome players who were willing to treat me like a member of the team. Worst, when I was still new to the whole MMO thing, I managed to get involved with another player who eventually morphed into a stalker. He tried to move in with me from another state, and when I said no, all of a sudden our group of friends and game were divided. The whole thing was very uncomfortable. After that I learned my lesson about being emotionally involved with other players. I had kind of a double whammy. Girl gamer playing WoW, and I started pretty young. 10. Worst, when I was around 12, I was in an amazing guild. I actually am still in the guild, now 21, and I'm friends with many of my close guildies on FB. There were some people in the guild that found out I was young and that I was a girl, and would hit on me openly in guild chat. I was young so I didn't realize they were hitting on me. Luckily I had guildies that would take care of stuff like that for me by speaking privately to the person, or kicking them if it got bad enough. But now I just have the occasional you're a cutie on my other guild's FB group. Not too awful. Best, surprising the crap out of everyone because I actually know what I am doing. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.